So in last class, you people have got introduced to library concept. So library is nothing but it's a reference of a path which we connect all the files from a specific external drive, folder or server within SAS environment, and we refer that path with a library reference name, correct? So this is where we had seen was the syntax. So if we are connecting to
Ashwini,
all, yes, yes,
we can't see, we are not able to see your screen.
yes, now,
Yes.
okay. So when we have same type of data files, if it is SAS data files, the default engine is base. If it's Excel database, we use the respective engine. So it is Excel or XLS, or if it is a file which are of Oracle or any other data file, we use accordingly the respective data engine as one of the syntax within your Libny. So this is one of it. And we know once the library is been referenced, all the SAS files which are within this path, we can view in this the user defined library, correct? And we refer that table name as two level SAS data set name, naming with libref dot table name. So libref mylib dot table name, which is class, to see or to process that existing data either in a proc step or in a data step, right? So we had seen this, and we had also seen how Excel works in this area to connect within SAS environment. So once the connection is done, we know it is one of the connections through it's active throughout the session until and unless we end or cancel our session or change the name or a path. So same thing, if you are no longer looking ahead to have any information from that path, you dissociate or disassign the connection by using the statement. And we had also worked with this activity to create your library for PG1, right? Yes. So we had worked with Excel sheets also. So we had, yes. So we got introduced that whenever we start a session, by default, SAS provides us two libraries. One is the temporary and one is the permanent. So temporary is the work library. Why we call it temporary? Because during the session, if you are creating any new data and you do not refer any library reference for that data, it default gets saved into a work library, which is temporary. It's only for that session. Once you end the session, the file which is saved in that particular library is no more in when you see into a new session. So either you refer while creating a data or processing in a proc step using test, which is equivalent to work.test. So test is the file, correct? Another library which is provided by SAS, we got introduced was an existing permanent library called SASL. Why it's called permanent? It's because now when I look into my session and it's a new session which I have logged in today, so within libraries, we have SASL, and see all the files are available for us within this library, which is predefined from SAS. And because I had made this connection by submitting the statement, whatever the data was in this path for me is now connected into SAS, so it's into PG library, PG1 library. So it's one of my user-defined library where as a data analyst, we are creating by ourselves. So yes, this is also permanent library which we are creating because our path is going to be constant. Nothing is changing in path. Only any files which you keep on updating in this path will be always updated in our library when we reconnect into SAS session. Hence, it's called as a permanent user-defined library, correct? So these are some of it which libraries are also available, but at the same time, it's telling that there are some libraries where SAS administrator have that rights to access or create and give the access to various libraries throughout the path or the platform in various tools of SAS. So these are some of the examples. All right, so we had seen how to create a library and we'll also work on it. So this is a syntax where we had seen how one can create a library for external data files which are not SAS files. For example, we had seen for Excel. Okay. So moving ahead, let's work on this Excel again. So let's work on this class Excel file. All right. So moving into our servers and folders, we know in this we have data where we have uploaded all the files. Now this is an Excel file. So let's connect or we create a new library for XLS. So I write Libny. I give the name as suppose my Excel. It's an Excel SX extension or file engine, and I give the path for this particular file data. So we check into its properties for its path. So I copy this path, I put it the path into positions. Now before working on this, let us observe the data. Now we know Excel is actually consisting of various sheets, and the whole Excel we term it as workbook, and within the workbook we have various tabs of sheets where data might be saved into different tabs. So in this table also, or in this workbook also, we have Excel workbook with various tabs. It has class, word date, class teacher, class test. Now moving into this, let's look into one of the columns. So not here. I just wanted to show you that when we open any Excel file or an Excel workbook, the table in Excel and the columns has the information of columns provided, or we have that liberty in Excel that the column names can have space within it, correct? So that is not with SAS. If you remember the SAS naming conventions, the column names, see here, we have park code, we have park name. So look at the columns. The column names are having space in this. Park space code, park space name. Okay, and like this we have three sheets within this Excel workbook. One is park tab, one is species tab, another is visits tab, correct? So moving ahead, let's work to have a connection to be done from this Excel file to SAS via Libny. So now instead of class, we'll work on NP info. NP info is nothing but a file in which we have the information of national parks. Okay, NP info XLS. Yes, all right. Now look at here. I execute this Libny. Now understand, as per the SAS naming conventions, your files should be having column names without any space, correct? It should follow the SAS naming conventions for file column names. That means it should not be more than 32 characters long. It should begin with letter underscore followed by name, number, letter or underscore. Then it should not have any special signs including spaces also. Where we had seen our Excel workbook, where we have certain columns in the tab of parks where the columns has spaces in the name. So see here park space code and park space name. But when we move into SAS, and you know that when we have created a library, it will create a library of the Riblev which you have provided. See, it is default reading for all the Excel workbook, all the sheets it's been taken into as data files within this library. So now when I open this parks tab or this table file in SAS, see, look at here, it still takes this column names which are having space. Okay, so if you want these names with SAS naming convention, because in future when we are going to use this column names in processing in our code, like for example, I I read it like doc print, suppose data equal to my Excel dot and I want to generate a report only on two columns. Okay, so what does print does, Doc print is a procedure where it simply processes your data or produces a report on this data which you provide in this proc print. So print, it does not means that it is going to connect to a printer to generate a printout. So understand, it's a very simple meaning. Print means simply print all the rows and all the columns from this input table to be printed or to be displayed into a result window. So it is like a list report. So print is also called as a listing report. Okay, so it simply prints by default all rows and all columns into your result. So see, by default it gives all columns and all rows from that table which have been processed into output. Now we want to generate a report only on these two columns. Okay, so if you do not want all the columns to be reported into output, you can always select the columns by using a keyword called as var. So what does it tells? That var is the statement where it gives us the ability to select the columns which are required into your report. So I write like this: par code space park name, because in the column it is the same type of name, and I submit it now. Now let's understand. See what it's telling us. It's telling us we have an error. What is this error? It's telling the variable names which you have selected is treating every column, because there is a space in the column. It's treating this as a separate column, code as a separate column, park as a separate column, name as a separate column. Are you getting it? Because we have given space. Understanding, and as per SAS naming conventions, the column should not have space into the names. I hope you remember. So how to overcome this now? Now why? Because it's still an external Excel file. It's not a SAS dataset. So when we are reading this Excel with a Libny statement, we are going to ask SAS to change the names of the variable as per the SAS nomenclatures. Hence, we write a global statement called options, and we use the option called as valid var name equal to. So what it's done, it specifies the rules for valid SAS variables names that we are, or that names that can be created and processed during SAS session. So we give this and we tell SAS to use the option called as V7. So V7 is nothing but version 7 of SAS, which specifies the variable's name can be up to 32 characters length and should begin with letter, underscore, and all those nomenclatures. So I can use V7. And now I resubmit this Libny statement. Let's look into my library of my Excel. I open this table. Okay, it will still show me there is a space. Okay, now looking into this log, we got this. Now I'm creating data. I'm creating this data in my work library. So I will give the same name, parts, set my Excel dot. It is having three data files. So it's parts. So we are actually creating a data file by reading from this data set. So it will simply create a copy of the data by reading all columns and rows from that input Excel library to my output. So it is valid where it's reading these files into a SAS file as a column names which are having space, because in your library or in Studio, it is actually default setting where it is entertaining the column names with the space. All right, so that's what it's coming like this default. So moving ahead, when we look into this slide, so it's telling us the same thing, that when we use this valid variable name option, it forces tables and columns to column names to follow SAS naming conventions. So this is with Excel and this is what it comes with SAS. Now we are working in Studio, therefore Studio is supporting the column names with spaces. But ideally, if we were working into a license copy like Enterprise Guide or SAS windowing environment, it would appear with underscore like this default. Okay. So this was its telling. So into the contents also, so it's telling we have connected here. So let's check the contents. Okay. So I'm using from contents data equal to my excel dot parts. So let's check the contents for this parts from my excel. So this is the attributes. So these are the variable names. This is the label. This is the original columns. All right. This is its type, length, and format. So in Studio, it is been developed in such a way that when you are reading from an Excel file or any other database which has spaces, the columns are read with spaces. Why? Because default settings of SAS Studio is here. If you see, if you earlier, if you were observing when we were writing this, or I rewrite again options, and I was writing varied var name, we were getting the options as any. So by default in Studio, this option is on of any. That means because it's the any default settings in SAS Studio, we could see that the column names are appearing into log with this default SAS names with spaces. So that's what now, okay, we'll be looking. See, this is what it was telling with proc contents. Okay, now let me, when we saw the proc contents, let us check log. Okay, it's coming. No message because it's an SAS Studio. This message comes only when we are working with Studio, or sorry, environment of SAS windowing application and Enterprise Guide. So see, it's the same thing. So it's telling here, open this activity with A07. So let's work with this activity for your chapter 2 with A07. So move into your PG1 activities folder. So lesson 2 activity A07. So it's telling complete the option statement to ensure that column names follow SAS naming convention. Complete libname statement to create a library of NP which reads this NP info Excel. Highlight the options and the libname statement. Navigate your list of libraries and open library. Open each table and view the table. So this is what it's telling. Use this options, use your path and check. So go ahead and check. Now I've already worked for you. Now you people also work on this. Go ahead to work with this activity. Let's go to it's working for me. Yes, so did you finish with this activity? Then it's telling complete the proc content step to read the parks table in NP library. So use this proc contents. So give the library reference as NP. Okay. Done. Yes.
Not yet.
Okay.
Block space.
Ashwini,
Yes.
can you repeat once again? I couldn't understand that.
Are you in this activity A07?
Activities 102 A07, right?
Right.
Yeah, I take that one.
So try it out with this all these 4 steps. Read this
Okay.
4 steps first.
Okay.
Create this.
Ashwini,
Yes.
it's not taking the lib name as NP.
Your library reference name should not be more than 8 characters. All right, but NP it should take, right? Why it's not taking for you? Share me your screen. See, what are you doing, dear? What is the path you are providing from activities, the code path? We are not working on SAS code path. It's telling us to create a library on this Excel sheet, which is np underscore info. And where this file comes, it comes into your data folder. You have given the path for your code. Are you getting it, Nilima?
No,
Look at the path. What path? What is the extension here?
I've given for
No, look at the extension of this file in this path. It's .ss, right?
yeah,
So .ss means it's a SAS code.
yeah.
So you're
I have
asking
given
SAS to
here.
make a library on a SAS code. We never create a library on SAS code. We create a library on data files. And where are all our data? It's into data table, data folder, right? You have data folder in PG1. This is activities folder. You did not upload data folder. You have, right? Yes. So within this, we have this NP Excel. See, we have this NP info. Scroll down your slider. See, you have at the bottom, see, NP info underscore, see, NP underscore info dot XLS. This file you have to connect. It's an Excel. You are connecting the SAS file. Right click, properties, copy this path. Correct, because it's an Excel file, you need to provide this as a data engine as Excel. Correct. Now submit this. You have to select even option statement, not only Excel libname statement. All right. Now go ahead and work on the instructions which they have asked about. See the second point, they are telling complete libname statement that you have done. Highlight the options and libname statement and run the section, that also you have done. It's telling navigate to your list of libraries and open NP library. Open each table and view the data. NP library, correct. See, open this. You have, see, it's taking underscore now. Are you getting it?
Yeah.
Everyone, I hope you are looking into the screen. Others? People, I'm asking.
Yes, we are looking.
Yes. So did you get that the column names are coming with underscore sign now?
Yes.
Yes. So now come to your activities
Yes.
and write proc contents. Below libname, write proc contents.
I still don't have.
Data equal to. Now write your library np dot parts. Now in this np we had a parts file. See? Correct. Semicolon run. Now run this proc print. Oh, sorry, proc contents. See, it's run with semicolon. Correct. Now select this step and submit. Okay, so originally it's telling this is the columns with space. See variables, it's showing park space column, park space name. Now check your log. Scroll upwards. You get any message here? No. All right. But we had seen that the columns are appearing with underscore sign, right? Come to your activity where we had connected. Yeah. Or whichever table. You just open that table from NP library. Now open from a library another table species or some other, you'll see the column names are coming with underscore signs. So this is where SAS is trying to make those columns of Excel which are not as per the SAS naming conventions. It's converting those column names to SAS naming conventions where the spaces are replaced with underscore signs, right? All fine now?
Yes.
Ashwini,
Great.
you know
Yes.
what? My information is still not running.
Nilima, can you please stop sharing your screen? And Priyanka, share your screen, please.
Libname now, um, the last option, this one. Shall I clear this?
No, just let it be, because we'll be seeing in case if we rate it in further any
Okay.
instructions. Okay? Yeah, fine. So Priyanka, please share your screen. Shanmuga, I hope you are able to work and you're getting the same thing.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, fine. So see Priyanka, it's giving you an error, invalid physical name for library NP. See what name you're giving. What is what has happened? Why everything post the codes is coming in pink? It's a syntax error, Priyanka. Why everything post this is coming pink?
Oh, the data inset and all should come in a green.
Blue. Yeah.
Blue,
Why
blue.
it's coming pink?
I didn't run it.
No.
No. The double this thing.
It's because you did not close your quotation marks.
Yeah.
That is why it's giving you, yes. Now just hold on, Priyanka. Just select options and labeling statement. Did not select everything. You did not select semicolon.
Okay. Yeah. First I was
Right.
giving something different. And I
Now
thought,
check your library, NP library.
oh, come on, what happened? Okay. Yeah, it's here now. Mm-hmm.
Open the
Got it.
sparks.
It's coming with.
Check these columns are coming with underscore now.
Yeah. Got
Right?
it. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so let's move to the slide. Stop sharing now.
Ashwini, what if I give any in the option now instead of V7?
So what happens with any, any is the option which is default active in SAS Studio. So if you check this PDF, okay, so see it's telling in SAS Studio, if you do not submit valid var equal to 7 option, okay, so it's telling it resets the value for valid var is equal to any, which is a default setting. Hence, in SAS Studio, it defaults entertain with this spaces columns. Okay, but that is not valid with enterprise guide or SAS windowing environment. So with any what is happening, it is asking SAS to accept the columns name which has spaces, special signs also. That's why it's telling any. All right now.
Okay. Okay.
It's only with SAS Studio. Otherwise, we know in SAS, those names are not entertained with space and any special characters. So in SAS, we have to provide underscore. So we are using that it should follow the valid variable name as per your version 7. So version 7 means your name should begin with letter and underscore, should not have any special sign, should be 32 characters long. But in SAS Studio, it has been more developed or highly been upgraded or updated that its default setting is for any,
Okay.
which it entertains those column names. That's it. All
Okay.
fine?
Fine.
Okay. So this was with activities. So it's telling in log, actually in our studio, we cannot see this. That by default, when you work in SAS windowing environment or enterprise guide, it gives you this note. When we use this proc contents as np.parks, we get this variable names park space code is being converted to park underscore code. So you try from your end, do you see this message in your SAS Studio? Proc contents data is equal to np.parks and check these columns are being converted to SAS with underscore sign. So this is SAS naming conventions. So it's getting modified. So do you see in your log any message of this? Yes.
Yes.
So do you see this type of message?
Yeah. The space got converted to underscore.
Great. Yes, good. Others? Priyanka, Shanmuka, Swarupa.
Yes.
Yes, Ashwini.
Good. So moving ahead, now we saw how one can access the data into SAS environment
Ashwini?
by using, yes,
Yeah, I didn't see that. I don't know what happened.
okay, just share your screen.
Can you see?
Yes, just maximize your window, please. Yes, okay. So what part is not seen here? Show me a log window first.
Okay, I have to run everything, right?
No, you have already created earlier, right? Your
Yeah.
library and all. So just show me a log for the recent prop contents, what you have executed. Log window. Okay.
Yeah, log
It's
window.
prop print. You have executed prop print. No, not prop print. Go to your code
Okay.
window.
Yeah, code window.
It's still C log. Okay. Now select prop contents. Prop contents, which you have written at the last.
Yeah.
Last one. The last procedure, prop contents. Below prop print.
Yeah, this one.
Yes. Yeah. Submit it. Check your log. Okay, you are not getting it. No problem. Even for my studio, it was not showing. It is maybe because there is a default setting in studio for SAS options valid name is equal to any. But I hope, did you submitted options valid name is equal to V7 earlier?
Yeah.
Okay. So come and select this options with libname again.
This one?
Options and libname.
Yeah.
Option statement and libname statement. Yeah, we submit it.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, come to your libraries.
Library is okay.
Check your. Now you have given here the
My Excel.
library. Yeah, my Excel. So open paths or any of the tables within it. So it's coming underscore for you.
Yeah, underscore is coming here.
It's all fine then. If you could see underscore here, it's all fine. No worries.
Okay.
For me, it was not coming because my default setting any did not change to valid one. It's all fine. If this is coming, then it's all fine.
Okay.
No worries. Just stop sharing your screen so that I can share mine.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. So now, till date, for accessing tables, we had seen how one can access SAS files and Excel or non-SAS files, which is Excel files via Libny. So there is another method where one can also access data by not only with Libny but with prop import. Okay, that is, we can import data directly into SAS, and for it we have a procedure called prop import, and that is what we are going to learn, importing data into SAS. Okay. So importing unstructured data. So now we had worked on, or whenever we are working on tables or data files, those are of two types of structures which we had seen earlier, structured and unstructured. Correct? The structured data is those tables which has proper rows and columns, whereas unstructured data is those columns, or sorry, those data files where we simply has data into it, but there is no proper structure for those data values, whether it's columns, what is this values, which column it's standing. Like for example, I'll show you one of the file or raw file. If it is there, see here. Look at this. You simply see that this is a file where we have simple values, but there is no proper discrimination telling what these values are for which column. So this type of data where you have simple inputs of values or data, it's called flat files, or you call it as unstructured data. All right. So this is the example of unstructured data. So that's what your slides were telling us, that we are now going to see how one can import data. So it's telling we are going to import unstructured data to create a structured data by using a procedure called as prop import. All right. So how is the syntax for it? It's prop import data equal to So it's proc import data file equal to, you give the path where your file is, and along with the path you give the name and its extension. We need to specify what is its DBMS. DBMS means Database Management System. So it's CSV. What do you mean by CSV? It's comma separated values. And this data file which you are importing, it should be saved into a SAS environment as a particular dataset name. So you write out equal to. All right, so you can provide libref.file name where you want to save that table as a permanent table. You can refer it to your permanent library, or if you want to save it temporary, just give the table name. By default, it will be worked or saved into work library. Correct? So CSV files are comma separated files which are default open into Excel. Okay, so moving here, this is one of the comma separated file, but see it is showing you an icon of Excel and see it's telling A and comma. So it's comma separated, it always opens default into Excel. So this is unstructured files. If you try to open or view this file, so in case if I select this and I ask SAS that, I asked my system that I want to open in Notepad, your files actually will look like this. Those are separated by commas. All right. Okay, people, everyone. So this is how your data files are saved with comma. And by default, this data files which are saved with comma default are always saved into Excel. All right. So it's called comma separated values. Okay. Any questions on this type of files? The same goes with this one example. I open it in Notepad.
Ashwini,
So, yes.
why we can't use that engine for changing this file to CSV?
We are not using Libny statement. We are using we are getting introduced to a new procedure called proc import. It's procedure import, and we are not using Libny statement.
Okay.
With Libny, you can use the same syntax as you had seen earlier, like this. Because it's Excel, you can write here XLS.
Okay.
Okay.
If we are using libname means we should use that base or engine, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Libname is what you are actually connecting the whole file or the whole contents into SAS. You are connecting. Same thing. Now what we are doing is we are actually connecting through a procedure for a specific data file. All right. So we are not creating any library through proc import. We are directly now connecting to a specific tab within the Excel. Okay, now we'll see that example also. So first thing is understand we are working with proc import to import unstructured data to a structured data. So this is the unstructured data. So this is simple data values without any specification. So hence it is called as unstructured. So this unstructured data, looking into it, you will not get any information that what is this columns, what is the first value, what is it standing for, so what is this, but these values are all separated by comma. And this is one of the unstructured data where you have to convert it to structured data, and most of the time we are going to see how one can import a comma separated data value to be converted into a structured data value. So what is comma separated? So this is the example that this is how the comma separated values looks like. But most of the time the comma separated data file always gets open into Excel. That is why I see that this data file is actually saved into Excel. See, though it is in Excel, but it is comma separated values. All right. Hence, we are going to see with proc import how one can import this Excel file. All right. So,
Ashwini,
yeah.
if we want to create this in libname, then we have to give XLX or CSV file as a base engine as
Try
a
it out. Good question. Try it out.
Okay.
So once we finish this, you can try that. Okay, or we will try it, don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah, so importing a comma delimited file. So proc import data file, you give the path along with its name and extension, give its DBMS is CSV. Output file, in case if it is already existing in your particular library, you can give this option replace, and you have another statement where you can give this instructions to SAS. Guessing rows is n or max. That means how many rows you want to read from that external file into SAS. N is like you can provide the specific number of rows, or max it will read the maximum rows which are default rows in that particular table into SAS. So it specifies the number of rows to determine column type and length. Default is 20. All right, so it replaces the output table if it already exists with this replace option in this system. So let's work with this demonstration. So just look into it, that how we are working on it. Okay, so just do not work personally, look into my screen. So it's lesson 2 demo 3. Go into demonstration folder. So it's lesson 2 demo 3. Okay, so this is the syntax for it. So currently I'm going to comment this replace. So what I'm doing is, so it's telling we are going to change this path for our current session. Fine. So my path is this from my data. So default path which they have given, you need to please change it. You need to pay attention for that particular instructions carefully. Else, if you submit it without looking into the path clearly, you will get error. Okay, so changing the path. So it's telling from my data file, I have a data called as class birthdate.csv. So come to this, let's check into data folder. Do we have class birthdate? It's a CSV file. All right. So same, if you had observed that the data which we have or which I have provided to you in your data folder. So we have class birthdate. See, it's telling it's a CSV file. It's a comma separated file. So in case if I right click, I need to select it properly, right click, and I ask the system that I want to open in Notepad. So this is how you'll see the columns and the values are separated in comma. Because it's in Excel, it's having columns, but see these values are separated are comma. Fine. Now coming back to our session, we are importing it, and I'm telling SAS that this data file type is .csv, hence its DBMS database management system is CSV, and I give this option out equal to, I write work.class birthdate and I give the name as its birthdate underscore input, and I'm saving it in my work library. So now look at here, I execute this proc import. Check my log. So now it's telling work.class birthdate underscore import was successfully created, and this data set has so many rows and observations. Procedure import used. So let's check your library of work to see whether class birthdate underscore import is created. Yes, and that is why you see it as data output tag, that the data is created with 19 rows and 6 columns. Fine. Okay, now what I do is I uncomment this replace. Now replace is a part of this. See, this data file is a statement which is ending here. So replace is a part of my data file statement. And this is all the options which are the part of this proc import itself. So your proc import is ending here. So this all is the options of your data files. Proc import. All right. Now look at here. Now I activate my replace option within proc import and I resubmit my proc import. When I resubmit, check the log. So it's telling that import is done. So this is how the importing procedure is happening. Okay, fine. Now why it is not giving me any type of special message? Because the data was already existing. I use this replace because it's already existing. So it will not have any issues to work on this file to create it again. So what I do is, instead of this replace again, I without using this, I resubmit it. So what I'm getting this note. See, look at this note carefully. And now understand why that replace is so significantly used as option in my proc import. I've commented currently replace, but what I'm getting the note. Yes, tell me.
The file already exists, and if you want to replace that, you will have to recommend the replace option.
Yeah, so what it's telling, because I'm resubmitting proc import, this I have already done earlier. So that file has already created in my work library. But in case you want to recreate it, give SAS the instructions to replace it. Currently, that's why it's telling the import procedure is cancelled. So output data work.class put date import already exists. So specify replace option to overwrite it. Hence, the SAS system stopped processing the step because of error. That is why you have to uncomment replace now. See why I'm showing you all these things, because you will get this type of questions in your interviews. See, libname is a very important topic where most of the interviewers always ask me libname questions, proc import questions. Why? Because those are the basic things which, as a data analyst, you will be doing it while accessing your data. So they'll ask you the syntax. They'll ask you the syntax that if you are asking to SAS to connect to a specific data library or data file which is non-SAS file via libname, what is the syntax? So you have to specify libname, libref, give the engine name, give the path along with its extension. So that engine name is very important. Same thing in proc import also. When you're importing, what is the significance of reference replace? So this type of questions you will be facing when you are attending any type of technical rounds during interviews. So make a note. So whenever I tell this is important, make a note, make a note. Whenever I use this word, see to it that you people are noting these topics. So whenever you'll be practicing, you'll be studying, that these topics you keep in mind. Okay, emphasize on this area whenever you are practicing. All right. Okay. So hence replace is most important when we are re-executing proc import for that particular file. All right. Moving to this demo now, it's telling complete the proc import step to read this data file, which is already there, and create a temporary SAS table. Replace the table if it exists. Complete your proc content step to examine the properties, highlight the demo program and submit your select. Now open this demonstration D03 and work out on this. Go ahead. Work out on the first part also and work out on the second part also. Go ahead. Done? Yes, did you complete it? Do not use replace at this point, okay? Because it's not already existing, so don't use replace. Yes, any inputs?
What should go ahead?
No, it's okay. No, I had done. I just telling her I'm done.
Okay, okay, fine. Other, yes, who was speaking simultaneously along with Sarupa? Is it was Nilima or Priyanka?
I was talking. I just wanted to ask that I tried to do the out file with the work, like out is equal to work strong damage import, and it was giving me error that it's still giving me error if I remove. So yeah, I'll show you actually.
Priyanka, you have to follow the naming convention as libref.filename. So how are you writing your work and your file name? Are you giving the dot, that period between libref and file name?
Okay.
Yes.
No, I did not actually start with the lib names. I thought that we
Just share your screen. Share your screen.
Okay, I'm just writing it now. So
We do not require libname statement here now. And libname, it's because it's the same session. Your libname earlier is active, so no need of valid and all. No need of libname.
that's what I
That's not
thought.
required. See, what is wrong here is, your proc import, you are ending with semicolon. I said your proc import statement ends directly with your out and all is the part. Yes, part of it. Now it will work. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. It's always about putting it or not. Got it.
So the syntax also they have provided before. this
Mhm.
comments.
Oh, I did not put
So
it.
check your log.
Yeah. There's no error now. It was just giving me that
Yeah.
one error.
Got it?
Yeah.
All right. So now stop sharing your screen, please. Let me share my screen. So this demonstration we had done. Now open this activity A08. Now here we are connecting to a, look at this screen currently. What is the procedure they have used? Proc import data file equal to, the data which they are opening now is a dot tab. Okay, it's tab, that means space separated data file. And see the DBMS they are using as tab. Okay, so open this activity and follow these instructions which they have given in your activity in comments. And then we'll discuss. Fix the program, Reena, if the confirm the import is successful. So go ahead, open this activity. Done with this activity? Shanmuga, long time I did not hear from you. I hope you are able to work and understand the concept.
I done that before one, that P02 and what is that? D03.
So you work on this activity now. A08. So come to activities folder.
Okay.
So come to your folders, come to this activities. So within activities folder, it's P2A08. So open this
Okay.
activity folder. So
Okay.
read the steps and accordingly work on it.
Okay. We'll try.
Just a second. It's about libref. No, so don't work on this. The naming convention is different. So is it for you A08 the same activity which they have given on slide? If no, then try to open activity A09. So A09 will have the same proc print, proc import, sorry. Check A09 if it has proc import. If A08 is not aligning with your slides, then try to open A09. Check it has this. So follow this statement. This program imports tab delimited file. Run the program twice and carefully read log. What is the different about the second submission and how you can fix it? Go ahead.
Ashwini, we had to do another activity.
I was telling on your slide, if A08 activity is not aligning as per what they have given on your slide currently, so try to open another code which is A09, which should give you the same proc import statements which are there on your slides. So
Okay.
is A08 giving you the same code which you have on the slide?
Yes, right.
Yes, did you open this? Yes,
Upon
I'm
running,
waiting. Yes.
upon running that, it is showing like import is unsuccessful.
So that's what they are telling you, that what they are telling you that select this program and select it twice, submit it twice and check your log. So why you are getting that message? Why it's getting that message that it's unsuccessful? Check your log. So it's telling this tab file is not there in our system. So let me check in your data folder. Do we have this tab data? Okay, so if it's not there, don't worry. What we can do is,
Storm data dot, sorry, storm damage dot tab in the data files.
it's there.
It
Yeah.
is there in the file. It's still giving error.
Okay, sometimes what happens is maybe the system might not have that access to that type of data files. Okay, that's why it is getting.
So how to fix that now?
It's okay, don't worry. It's a default setting, so don't worry on it. So we can, they are just trying to tell us that what happens if we resubmit the same steps with proc import. Okay, so that's just we want to understand. So let's work on one of this Excel file. Suppose it's Europe support underscore trade. So let's work on this, no worries, and try to resubmit it twice. So instead of, oh, did you change this path by any chance, people?
No,
No,
Why? What is the path here?
we have to change.
tab.
Workshop.
Yeah, so are we connecting to workshop?
No.
Then we should be very careful on this. Let me work out now in case if we have submitted with the path. It's working. So this is my first submission. See, it's working. I again resubmitted second time. I get this message. So how I fix this message now when I'm resubmitting second time? We have already done in earlier demonstration.
It is working.
It's working.
Try to resubmit it twice and check your log and why we are getting this.
Because there is no replace.
Absolutely correct. So how will fix this now?
We'll add the replace.
Yes. Go ahead. Shanmuga, I hope you are understanding. Swarupa,
Yes.
I hope what mistakes we were doing now we have corrected in the path and you were able to execute now.
But if we will give replace, it will still give us an error because it needs to ask us what are we replacing it with.
No, check your system or check your semicolon, where you are giving the semicolon, where the replace is. Check your syntax correctly. If your syntax is not correct, then it will not work.
Yeah, it did not give error. Why?
Why it will give error? Because it replaced, right? Though it is already existing, but it got replaced. Because you have applied a replace option there.
When we were doing the same thing in Excel, it was telling, it was asking us the
Yes.
question where to replace it or what to replace it with.
No,
right?
it never asked what or where. It's just telling that it's already existing. So use a replace option if you want to recreate the file. That's it. So
It has
now I'm
replaced
using
now.
replace like this and I execute it. So I will not get that note of import has been cancelled. It's importing it. See,
Yeah, it
Okay.
worked.
Yeah.
it
It has
works.
replaced now.
So it's your syntax error. See where the semicolon is. Your
No,
proc
I
import
am getting
ends
it,
here.
but I'm getting it, but I was expecting that it will give me that question. That is what I
No,
was
no,
asking.
no. It will not give you a question.
It's replacing
It comes if you do not write replace. It comes when you are resubmitting it twice without
Okay.
replace. That you need to replace if it is already existing. That's what it tells.
Got it.
Okay. Yeah. Other two, Swarupa, and Shanmuga. Are you people able to follow what are we doing?
Yes, Ashwini.
Okay. Shanmuga,
Yes, Ashwini, I did.
so did you follow what has happened?
Yes.
Okay. So you fix the program by using this. We got this node, right? It was telling import cancel output dataset work dot hurricane damage tab already exists. Specify replace option to override it. So you used it. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we know that in Excel you have various tabs. Okay. Now we were importing or we were accessing this Excel via Libny. It was accessing the whole workbook, including its individual tabs. Correct. But
Yeah.
when we are doing proc import, for suppose same program, I use suppose proc import
Excel.
data file equal to, I give this data to be read as np underscore info dot, it is Excel SX. Okay. So what will be my database now? What DBMS I will write? Yes.
Excel.
DBMS means
Excel.
data. Yes, it's XLS. So see, it's telling either there are so many options or you have XLS. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. So let's use this. So it's NP Excel and here also it's NP XLS. Excel SX. I just do not give any further instructions. I resubmit or I just simply this proc import. Okay, so I'm getting the information. Why? Because I did not give any information about out, right? So I write out equal to, let it be parks one data in my work library. All right. DBMS out equal to, and I execute. So your data is read. Okay. So the output data set which is creating is for the parks. But if you know and if you have observed, when we had this NP info, it is the whole Excel book with various tabs. Now which tab it has read by default? Any idea when we see this proc import? See, we have parks, we have species, we have visits as
park.
various sheets in this Excel workbook. Correct. So when we were connecting this via Libny, it was accessing whole workbook with this default tabs coming as separate data files. If you remember,
Yeah.
correct. But
Yeah.
then when I use proc import, it's reading only one table. So by default, what has happened? It's reading by default the first sheet. All right. So it's reading only the first sheet, which is parks. See, park code, name, state, acres, longitude, latitude, and the same. See, park code, names. So these are
Suppose
the
if
columns.
you give in the out section the next sheet name, it gives next sheet one.
So that's what we are now getting introduced. Sheet equal to an option. So it's a statement. It's not one of the option. So this is what it's a statement. So it's starting it and ending with semicolon here. Proc import is ending it. So you give the sheet name. So now moving back into your program, I write here sheet equal to, and I've now instead of using park, I want to read this sheet. called as species. So I move here and write. All right. So this semicolon is actually ending my sheet statement here. So let's check. And instead of park, I write here dataset, which is default getting saved into work library. I do not reference it with a libref, but it is understood by SAS that it will get saved into work library. All right. So it has so many rows. Therefore, it's taking time in studio to rate. So it was nearly 1,19,000. Okay, so when I check my log, so it's telling it's been created. And when I check my library for my work, it's default getting saved into work library as species. Got it? So this is how with proc import, in case if you are reading with a DBMS file in proc import, you'll have to read every sheet one at a time. So again, you'll have to read another proc import to read a next sheet. Okay, whereas the significance of Libny is in one statement, you can read the whole workbook and the individual files can be seen as individual sheets can be seen as individual files in a library. Whereas with proc import, you'll have to do it for every sheet specifically to read a specific sheet. All right, so that's what this is telling. Any questions?
See, once we have given out equal to sheet, what is the purpose of again sheet, giving a sheet again?
Where we are writing out equal to sheet? We are writing out equal to it's a data set name because we are reading from an Excel file. It's not a SAS file. We are creating a SAS file by writing out equal to. So we are saving it as SAS file here. That's why we are giving a data set name. We did not give sheet name here. We are giving sheet is the statement to be read from this import file. Which sheet you want to import into SAS as a SAS file. Understood now?
Earlier, before giving sheet function, earlier in that you have given out equal to name of the first sheet.
No, I was giving out equal to which sheet I want to, which data set I want to read. So earlier I had given parks 1 as a data set name. Here
Yeah.
also I'm giving the same name as species. So it's see in my work library, it's creating a data set species, but sheet means it is a sheet from my Excel. So in case if I give this name as I want to read it as species 1 as a data set, it's not a sheet name, dear. It's a data set name which I'm giving. I'm creating a data set in SAS. Out means
So
create a data
the
set.
data set will be named as a species 1.
Ah, correct. So earlier I had written parks 1. I've written species. Now it will again create a data set with the name as species 1 in my work library.
Okay, okay.
Understood?
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm not at all giving out equal to option to read a sheet.
Yeah.
In
So
earlier
the
examples, yeah,
out is your like
SAS files that we are converting a non-SAS file into a SAS file.
okay, okay.
So this is a non-SAS file, correct? I'm
Yeah.
actually creating a SAS file. And
Oh.
from this Excel workbook, I'm reading a specific tab. That sheet is this. So
Okay.
from this whole workbook, I'm going to read this sheet. So that sheet, there is this.
Yeah, yeah.
Understood now?
Yes, yes.
Priyanka, Shanmuga, Swarupa,
Yes, Ashwin. Yes.
any questions?
No.
Sure?
Sure.
Okay, great. Nilima, I hope your doubt is clear.
Yes, yes, it is clear now.
Okay.
So that out function is we are
Yes,
whatever data we are importing, that conversion we are giving the name as so and so.
absolutely, absolutely. So this out equal to option means you are from a non-SAS file, you are creating a SAS data set and you're giving that data set name. That's why see the syntax, Out
Yes.
equal to output table. That means what SAS table we want to name it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Discussion. What is the difference between using a Libny XLS engine and proc import to read Excel data in SAS program? I
In
already
Libny,
indirectly explained. Yes. Yes. Go ahead.
all the tabs will be converted as separate files,
Mm-hmm.
and in proc import,
Mm-hmm.
you'll have to specifically mention which tab to be converted.
Correct. So with Libny, what happens? It reads the whole workbook into SAS as a library. It's a library as a whole. It will connect in SAS. Whereas with import, it works with a procedure one at a time to import one sheet or a one tab from your Excel at one time. So it's not importing the whole workbook into SAS.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yes.
So beyond your SAS programming, apart from this, you can also have this extra reading done. So you can create libraries that are assigned automatically. You can learn about accessing other types of data files like with SAS Access products. So it's just you can read it through this documentation and read complete text, how one can read raw files. Okay. And you have an exercise. So let's work on one of the exercise. Come to your PDF book, lesson 2 of post importing, you have practice. So come to page 2-31, where we'll be working on one of the practice exercise, level 1, exercise number 1. So it's importing Excel data from a single worksheet. So did you locate this exercise? Page in PDF 2-31. To this 2-31. All right. So this is level 1, exercise 1. Importing Excel data from single worksheet. So it's telling create a table that contains a copy of data that is in Excel workbook. So they are telling open a ready to use practice code which is in P1 lesson 2 P01.SAS code from the practice folder. Complete proc import step to read EU_spot_trade XLS data. Create a SAS table named EU_sports_trade and replace the table if exists. So let's come to Studio. Within your folders, come to your practice folder. Within practice folder, see P102, P01. Which is your practice 1, no code. So they are telling us to write equal to. So you see it's here, proc import data file equal to. Within this, you have this path where you have data, and within it, we have this AU support_XLS. Right? Then it's telling DBMS, it is XLSX out equal to. So what data set they are asking us to create is with this name. And execute. So if it is existing, then you have to replace, but for us it's not existing, so no need of writing a replace option. But yes, again it's giving us some error. Let me check. I did not give its path, maybe. Let me check. So I have an error telling this path that does not exist with this data, your underscore support trade. So we do not have, we do have. XLS. So I'll just take this properties. Case sensitivity is there, okay? So pay attention with that extension. Capital will not work with case sensitivity with extension. Pay attention. Earlier I had given the same name with Excel as capital. It did not work. So I now work it with small case, it's working. So now my proc import is done. All right. And see, it's giving me this note also. One or more variables are converted because the data type is not supported by V9 engine. For more details, run. So it's by default converting your column names. If they have any spaces, they are converting into SAS naming conventions. Okay, so make this note, understand this note. People, you will get these questions, okay, in case if you are attending the interviews, pay attention on this log window currently. It's giving me this note, one or more variables are converted because the data type is not supported by this engine V9. So as I said you, currently V7 is V7 version, version 7 of SAS, version 9 is the version of SAS. So even if you use V7, V9, it's all fine. Naming conventions of columns are taken care of. So because it's an Excel book, Europe trade sports data, the columns are not as per your SAS naming conventions. Hence, it's telling it's converted as SAS conventions by using this engine V9 support engine. All right. Okay. Then it's telling modify the contents code to display the descriptor portion of your this data. So how you'll work it now, because you are saving it into work library, you write it in this way. Within this, you have your procs trade, and now you see this proc contents. So when I check my proc contents, it's giving me the three portions of my result of my descriptor portion, general information of my data. So it's telling here how many observations, how many variables, right? What is my data set? See its version, its engine, its data type, its engine host information, and its variables. Now see, because we have created as a data set, the naming conventions of columns are following as SAS naming conventions, which is the spaces are been replaced with underscore. Got it?
Yeah.
So this is how your exercise you should work. So contents and all. So it's telling modify your contents, display that we had seen. So this was your output. So this was your first level of exercise. Done?
Yes.
Any doubts, any questions? Yes, any doubts, any questions? Priyanka, Shanmuga, Swarupa.
I'm doing it.
Okay.
Ashwini, I have an error.
Okay.
Shall I share my screen?
Yes, yes, yes. Go ahead. Priyanka, I hope you are working on it.
Yeah, I also got that. I did got it. There was no error in both of them.
No error. Were you able to work with proc contents and all those
Yes.
things?
Yes.
Okay, good. Shanmuga. Okay, so the name of the data file in proc contents you are writing Neelam is trade. What is the name you have given in out equal to option? The name of your data file, trade itself. Okay.
Yeah.
So why it's telling it's not there? Did you check your work library first? Go to your work library. a trade is not created. So check your, okay, come to your code window. Now select your proc import. No, just wait. Select your proc import independently.
Shall I run?
Execute this.
Okay.
Yes. Because let us check, it's telling physical file does not exist. Why? So come to your log. I'll tell you why. Let's come to your code. Let's check what has happened. Come to your data folder. Let me check. You have it here, correct? You do have it. See, Europe _sports _trade.xls. Now what is happening? That's what I was telling you. The naming convention here, it is actually a Excel file. So maybe the column or sorry, the data name is not matching as per your SAS name. Okay, so come to your code window, close this window. Yes, do not save. Yeah. So what you do is change this name as what it is as your data file. So give that EU in small case maybe. XLSX is fine. All right. Now try to resubmit it.
Yeah.
It's done now. Now go to your proc contents. Because maybe it's sensitive in cases when it is coming to your external databases. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Now it's working. All right. So
Okay.
Swarupa, Priyanka, Shanmuga, everyone. Any doubts? Any questions in this? Hope you have understood it.
Ashwini,
Yeah?
after replace, if you put run, then you get a error, right?
Okay. So where run? Just share me your screen. Let me understand what are you trying to tell me with the screen.
If we rerun that, then we have to type as replace, I think.
Just a minute.
Yeah. Okay. So what you was telling me?
Okay, I thought like because of run, it is not. It is giving me a error, but I think I missed the semicolon here.
Fine. But now it's working.
Let me check. I just changed it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Replace is actually with semicolon, it's the end of your proc import statement. So before run, the statement has to end, correct? With a semicolon.
Yeah, got it.
It's working. Yes. All right. So can we stop sharing? Thank you. So with this, we have done with our lesson number 2 as well. So any doubts? So you have to have some extra readings. So what you can do is you can stop for the day, but see to it that you people are going to revise the topics. All right. Practice what we have learned with this syntaxes so that we can discuss this in more detail in case if you have any doubts, any queries in our next class. All fine?
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, we'll stop for the day. We'll not run. So let's have break for this, or we'll stop for this day. So see you all in our next session. Thanks for attending and take care. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Yes.
Thank you.